So you want to impress people, first see if you can find this item. It took me a long while, but I found it. That's it, puff pastry sheets. And I think this is the only company that makes them. And we're going to make a pastry boat, which you would make, let's say you take my recipe for shrimp newburg, and after it's made, you would pour this into the boat for presentation. It's beautiful, tastes great, and all you need to do is cut it correctly. If you have the cutters, which I can't find again because somebody moved them, so I'm going to do it by hand. If you have round cutters to make, you can make small bouchées, very small like this, as an hors d'oeuvre. So I'm making a boat one, but the same principle applies to the smaller ones. A flat sheet on the bottom, and then a thinner piece that runs the edge, and when it bakes, the edge will be high, there'll be a hole in the middle. And all we need is one egg with about a tablespoon of water, and that's going to be to seal everything. So now we'll just unpack, and you follow the directions, what it says to bake it on the box. And it's good to have an oven thermometer just to make sure your oven is calibrated correctly. So if the thermometer that you put in there says 375 and you set the oven at 400, the thermometer is probably correct. Okay, so let me get the flour and then we're going to start. I'm going to see if I can make a couple of different sizes from what I have. Flour the board. So that's one sheet. It comes folded in three. I unfolded it. A little flour on top. Now we will attempt to make a boat. So I'll take a knife and I'm going to measure this so there's no question. A boat that is 4 inches long should suffice. So right there. So we want it, this is going to be the bottom. So we just go like so. And if this is going to be so this will be the bottom. Now what has to be done, I might utilize I don't want to waste too much of this. So I have to cut one exactly the same and then cut the inside out. I wish I had my cutters, the pastry cutters, to do, and save the pieces. Don't throw them out. So now that this is the same size, then you cut, if you see, that's going to be the wall. So we only want the wall and not this inside piece, which we'll reserve. So this comes out. Save this. And take the piece and just brush some egg on it. And now we're going to take this piece and lay it right on top. Like so. And you can use either baking sheets or that rubberized roll-up thing, but I have these non-stick, so I'm just going to put it in there. Then when this puffs up, the sides will come up higher, the bottom will come up, and then we'll show you what we do next. So let's try and make a round one using what we have, and that would be a glass. And this is about, this would be a nice size also. That's like 3.5 inches, and quite often when you order them, the pre-made, they're 3.5 inches. So we have that piece, and we have to save all of this. I really don't know if I'm going to be able to use this again, but we'll save it anyway and we'll roll it out and see. And then we put it here and cut this out. Since we have a cutter, I don't have to use the knife. And then we'll take a smaller glass to finish the ring. And I think I have one that's okay. Let's try this for size. Oh, that's good. Just try and center it. That's going to be a thin wall, but I'm going to get a different size. Okay, I got a better glass to use. Center it. Looks pretty good. Cut that hole out. We don't need that. We just need this to place on top of this. And hopefully that's going to be a big hole there, but that's okay. So you now have a round one and you have a boat shaped one, and we're going to bake them. And you know, you cut and make smaller ones the same way, and then you have a nice little small bouchée you can fill with any kind of mix and serve it as a hot hors d'oeuvre. Oh, and don't forget, because I almost did, a little more egg wash around the top. Now believe me, if you buy the set of cutters to do this, it'll come out beautiful. I'm very upset that I couldn't find my box of assorted cutters, but at least you will see how to put it together and what it looks like when it's finished cooking. So what do we have here? 15 minutes later, they're baked. Fine, they're not burnt, they're baked, they're finished, they're light. It's the quality of the product that I was using. Most likely, they'd have been in my freezer for a long time. So, the sides only came up half the distance that I wanted. So what would you do? If you buy this item, or you can buy puff pastry, a piece from your bakery, that would be even better, because you don't know how long this has been sitting around. But anyway, so you would make one and you see what happens. So what would I do next? Everything is fine except for the sides, a little too thin and too low. I want them to be twice the height. But so after you make it, you just cut out the that part, and there, place this on the plate, and you put your filling in there, some cream, something, whatever. And the same thing with the boat. Just cut out, that comes out very easily, and there's plenty of room in there to put your filling. Now, also, if you have the cutters, everything will be perfectly cut. If one area is too thick and one area is too thin, it's not going to come up even. So here you have the puff pastry boat and a very large bouchée patty shell. Have you just too short, but very tasty. And I'll give you an idea how to work with that item. Good luck.